Hi, everyone. This is Sam Silverman, Managing Partner of EB5AN. Thank you for taking time to join us on today's webinar. Today, we're going to be chatting with one of our EB5 investors, Hardik from India, who recently invested in our project. During the webinar today, we'll go through a number of questions and hear about Hardik's EB5 experience and why the twin layer project. So Hardik, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to join us. And yeah, would you mind starting with a quick introduction about yourself, your background, and your experience in the US before investment?
Sure. Hi everyone. My name is Hardik Kolwadwala. I've actually moved recently from Canada, and it says I'm from India, and that's true because I moved to Canada from India when I was 12 years old. So my country of birth is still India, and my background is I'm an electrical engineer. I've studied in Canada, and then most recently I moved to US a few months back, and I haven't spent too much time personally living. I've traveled a bit in the US, but apart from that, I've only been in the US for last 2 months staying. I have spent my little bit of times previously at my family in New Mexico, but that was just temporary visits and stayed for a little bit, but that's about it.
Got it. Got it. So what kind of made you interested in pursuing an EB5 investment?
My family and I, we started talking about kind of looking into other opportunities specifically related to work outside of Canada, or more specifically within US, because I'm an electrical engineer. I'm in utility sector, and I was working for a company there, and I felt like I was not getting much opportunity, or rather I'm not getting new exposure. And looking at the industry and market, broad market in US, I felt that there was a lot more opportunity. There's a lot more that I could still learn and grow in, and that's where we decided that we wanted to move to US. Now, when we decided to move to US, obviously we had to kind of foresee, like, what is this? Are we doing something for long term, short term? What kind of move are we looking to do, or what is our goal? And then we decided, okay, so I lived in Canada for almost 20 plus years, so it came down that, okay, if I'm making a move to go to the US, I'm not just gonna go there, make money, and then come back. It's something that if I'm gonna settle in, then I want to make sure if my kids are getting educated, then I'm gonna settle down. And that's when we started looking at options that it's something that we want to look at the residency options in US as well. So that's where all the thought process with the EB5 started.
Got it. Got it. And how did you kind of first learn about EB5, and why did you think that was going to be the best fit for what you were looking for?
So my search started excessively when I started looking at the visas, what sort of visas are available for me, and then what is the long term goal, or rather what's my vision of where do I end up in like 5 years, 10 years down the road. And I looked at it and I said, okay, as a Canadian citizen, I can go route of TN visa where I can temporarily work in US, but it doesn't lead to any permanent residency. The other option was I get an H-1B, and then I moved on H-1B, and then basically from there I get an employment sponsorship for a green card, which is under either EB2 or EB3 category. Now, those options, when I explored more and more into it, I said, had I done that option when I freshly graduated from school back in 2010, that would have been a perfect time. But looking at the timeline now, it looks like like the categories have like massively gone out of proportion especially for country of birth, India. And if I go through that visa category, I'm looking at 5 to 6 decades before I could even get a green card. And for me, that didn't really matter as much it would matter for my kids. If my kids grow out of age, then they have to move out of country or study as an international student. And again, they have to go through the same thing that I would go through. And it didn't really make sense uh, for that. So looking at combination of opportunities for myself as well as for my kids, we decided to go with the EB-5 options. And there was other options that we also looked at, like such as E2 visas for business, and then also considered, maybe I can join a company that is, that has a sister company in Canada. I move up the ranks, go through the management chain, and then come to L1 visa, and all those sounds, there's theoretically those are options are there, but practically looking at it, all those options are like 5 to 10 years down the road, and even then we don't know what the processing time at that time is going to be. So it's something that I considered in a long run what's going to be my best option here.
Got it. Okay, so you research, you thought the other potential options to come to the U.S. were, and you decided EB-5 was going to be the best fit, just given the clarity and the
yes. So
timing. So now that at the time that you kind of made family, what was your next step? We'll start, and how did you end up finding an attorney, a project, all of that?
Yeah, so I mean, when I went through this process of searching for when I first decided that, okay, you know what, EB-5 is going to be my option, because other options, they were not. So I came into like a dead end when there was a hold on EB-5, like no ruler, no basically there was no regional center for a while during COVID time, and then the only investment was like a direct investments, and we have to pick like projects that are basically random projects, or basically you have to find an investment that you can invest into. When I gone through that, and then I said, EB-5, first of all, if I'm looking for EB-5, I want to understand the process when it all comes down to what do I need to do here, and how does the process work, especially for me born in India. And that's when I started looking at the attorneys, start talking to attorneys and understand what exactly is this EB-5 program, why is it important, and what sort of benefits I would get out of it, and most importantly, what is it that I need to look out for when I start selecting a project. So I started, that's when I started talking to immigration attorneys in this space.
Got it. So tell us a little bit about that experience. How many attorneys did you chat with? What did you find kind of most helpful, and who did you end up hiring, and why eventually?
Sure. So I spoke to, I would say, 6 different attorneys in the combination of referrals, Google search. I even went to extent that I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and there were a lot of attorneys that posted videos on their profession, what they do, how they help clients. So I even took that reference, and I started calling attorneys, and then I started speaking to them. I had like initial consultation with almost all of those for like 30 to 45 minutes, understanding the process. And I had set of questions that I kind of built from my research, and then explaining my scenarios. And I wanted to hear their perspective and their point of view, exactly how that fits into my criteria and what I'm looking for. And I wanted to see like which attorney gives like sort of like open-ended questions, more practical, logical questions rather than more emotional, or rather, more like a client-based question. Oh yeah, I can do this for you. And I really wanted to get in touch with the attorney that will give me right guidance, right direction, and will speak the truth. Basically, be upfront with me exactly what's gonna happen. And that's when, after talking through many different attorneys, like I said, so I decided to go with Anahita George from George and Marzialo, as my attorney for my EB5 journey. Reason I selected her is I've gone through, pretty much all this interview process and then selection process, and I kind of narrowed down what expertise or what sort of criteria I'm looking for. One particular one was the specialization in EB5. I've gone through her reviews, talking to Anita. I found her expertise and specialization in EB5 with the immigration law were crucial. And I understand her in-depth knowledge of the program's complexity was vital for successful applications. I wanted to make sure that she understood every single process, every single step of the process, what sort of challenges I could expect, and how what are the reasons that we would be getting those issues. The other things were her track record. I've talked to some of the previous clients. I've also gone through the review process online, research about her, and wanted to make sure that her track record was good. She had positive feedbacks. One of the most important thing I've talked to Anita, and I really liked about her was the transparent communication. I really appreciated working with Anita. Was like very easy communication. She was always available for chat. Her response were very prompt, and accessibility was instrumental in deciding or going through this process. Other than that, like, I mean, in general, like, I had a very good approach. Like, she's very client-centered, centered, approachable person. She understands your needs. She knows exactly what your situation is and what exactly you're trying to do. And she makes you feel very comfortable where you can explain to her all your situation without feeling reluctant that, okay, you might get a pushback from her. Rather, she'll basically give you an honest opinion, but at the same time, she'll give you a right advice on exactly how to approach that. And that's basically one of the biggest reasons. And finally, the honest and realistic response. Like I said before, I really valued her realistic and honest response to any questions that I had, and she never sugarcoated any information and provided basically all the optimistic answers. And that's like the holistic picture of why I decided to go with Anita. It was very straightforward decision at the end for me.
Got it. Okay, that's really helpful. So tell us a little bit about the process of actually assembling your source of funds materials. How long did that take? Were there multiple sources involved? What was the kind of communication document process like, working with Anita to get that all prepared before filing?
Yes, so that's one of the reason I also went with Anita. As I was checklisting, like penciling down all the sorts of funds that I would need. One of the options that I also considered was I have some property or some investment funds in India, and she has dealt with clients from India and how to basically source all those funds from India. Luckily or fortunately, I didn't have to use those funds, and most of my funds came, or actually all of my funds came through sources in Canada. I've been working for about 10-15 years here, so most of my source came through my investments or through my savings, and as well as the real estate investments. And That was basically the majority of my source of funds. The challenge was gathering all the documentations because majority of my source came through real estate investment, and I had to basically prove all the source were coming through legitimate source, and all the investments were made through legitimate source of income. And for that, I kind of had to go back, dig deeper, pull all my documentations from almost past decades, just to prove the trail of those funds. And that took almost more than a year. I had some of the documents available with me, but some I had to go through my bank and some real estate lawyers, and that took incredible effort. But kudos to the attorney for providing like a detailed list of exactly what documentations would be required. And to my surprise, Anaida was well aware of all the documentations, or all the legal documentations that would be required from the Canadian side, and she was very aware of it, and she basically gave me a good list of checklist of documents that I should gather, assemble, and then provide to her in order to make sure that all the source of funds are properly sourced and documented for the filing.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Having just gone through that whole process recently, what are some of the main pieces of advice you'd give to someone who was, with respect to being an attorney, to help them?
Of course, I'm happy to share my advice selecting the attorney for the EB-5 program, as I've gone through this process recently. Some of the insights or some of the key points that I kind of jot down and assemble for myself was like, one was experience matters. When I started my EB-5 journey, I realized that experience is the key. I sought out many attorneys and like talked to many attorneys, and I've decided to go with one who had the solid track record handling EB-5 cases, and that's very crucial to have someone who knows the program ins and out, because EB-5 can be legally complex. The other is specialization. I focused on finding an attorney who specialized in immigration law, specifically in EB-5, and this specialization ensured that, specifically in my case, and I have a depth of knowledge needed to guide me effectively through the program. Obviously, you also want to go through your client reference and reviews. Make sure you always speak to past clients of the attorney. That was very incredibly helpful. Their first-hand experience can provide invaluable insight into attorneys' competence and how they handle the cases. In my case, most of the people, or at least I think all of the people I spoke to, I always had a positive feedback that Anaida was very easy to communicate with, and that's something that you should look for when you're selecting a client. Transparency. It's important to have clear understanding of your attorney's fee structure. EB-5 applications are normally involved with substantial legal fees. So make sure that there are no surprises when it comes down to fees. Also, effective communication. I prioritize an attorney who communicated effectively with me. EB-5 involved many complex legal concepts, rather language on paper, and you want to make sure that those are communicated properly to you and you understand those properly. And I think one of the biggest one that I would recommend is compatibility. Make sure that you trust your instinct. Your relationship with your attorney is vital. You should feel comfortable discussing your financial, your personal, your immigration matter with them, and be open-ended with them. So talk and speak and choose someone who you can have a good rapport with. And we go through multiple consultation. Don't rush your decision. it's always a good idea to consult with several attorneys to compare everyone's approach, fees, and personality, and pick the one that can be a best choice for you. And lastly, I think one of the biggest one is stay informed. I think before you go through anything, educate yourself with the EB-5 program. The more you know, the better you can assess attorney's knowledge and commitment in your case. So yeah, those are my recommendation in terms of going through EB-5 projects and picking an attorney.
Great. Thanks, Hardik. That's really comprehensive. All right, so now we've kind of covered the immigration attorney, that to preparing a successful application. And so next we'll shift direction a little bit and chat a little major component of a successful EB-5, which is the project. And I'm sure, just the way you did your research, so attorney, I'm sure you did extensive research on, various project options as well. So yeah, I guess to start, kind of tell us, from the project perspective, what was your approach, at the beginning of, thinking about how to go about finding the right project for you?
Sure. So when I started researching about EB-5 projects, I was actually all over the place. I had zero clue exactly on how to pick a project and how exactly what project is right for me. And then as I started researching more about EB-5, especially the Reform Act, I understand that now that as a Indian born, I need to look at and target specific type of region for my case. I've gone through. I started looking at many different projects and started to understand what is the project entitling, what sort of project it is, and is it even feasible? Do I really think that project is good for me to invest in? At the beginning, all the project seems very good because all the information that are provided, they're always positive, they're always glowing. What you don't understand is what are the risks that you're coming across, and how you should evaluate those risks. First and foremost for me, because I'm born in India, there's a lot of hurdles that I have to go through. First of all, I think I wanted to screen out the projects that were in urban area, because I wanted to limit my source of funds to $800,000. On top of that, I also wanted to make sure that I go with the rural project, and that specifically, again, that was important for me because rural projects have 20% set aside. So I kind of narrowed down first based on those two categories. Once I did that, then I started looking at the projects. What are the projects that are available in the rural category or rural area? And that's when I had to start looking at different type of projects. What are those type of projects that are available in the market? You have real estate, you have hospitality, you have infrastructure, and what is it that it's right project for you? And that's where I started narrowing down that real estate is one where I like to be involved in, or kind of research more into it, because that seems something that I was already interested in. And I have some investment done in Canada in terms of real estate, so I was familiar with real estate investment, just not in US. So that's why I started looking more into real estate rather than any other infrastructure, and that was based on my previous experience.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so you basically, given that you were born in India, you thought, okay, I need to focus on a rural project. I'll get approved faster with priority processing, and I'll have access to the 20% set aside, which is important. And then within rural, the initial focus was real estate because that's what you're familiar with and you've invested in historically. So within that kind of lens, what else was important to you in terms of the project, and what about the Twin Lakes project, kind of you and made you want to get more information about killer?
Yeah, definitely. So when I started looking at it, when I started looking at real estate, I also started looking at what are some of those projects that are, or what kind of project in real estate. And when I came across, there's apartment buildings, there is houses, and there is other real estate infrastructures. I realized that there's some things that I might not be able to understand because now I'm looking at an investment in US. So that's when I actually started looking at interviews and post online and what other people has to say. At that time, I was narrowing down few projects with EB5AN, and when I looked at Twin Lakes, I've actually referred to some of the previous interviews on exactly what they had to say. So my decision making also went sort of a little bias on some of the information that I've captured from previous investor, and then based on that information, I did my research on exactly what exactly it is that what I want to invest in. And when I started doing that, so I first started looking into EB5AN. As a regional center, I wanted to see what exactly is EB5AN for me. How is it going to help me? And so EB5AN, from my research, I started looking at it. And it's for me, I found that it's a reputable and dependable EB5 regional center. And that's for several reasons. Firstly, I've spoken to you, Sam, and your team, and experienced professionalism from word get-go. You guys have a deep understanding of the law, the immigration law, the real estate, and the financial. So ensuring that you can provide that comprehensive support to EB5 investors, that was a crucial information for me to start judging into my projects. One notable strength of EB5 was regional coverage. You had the EB5AN had the experience working in multiple states in the US, and wide geographical footprints offers investor a diverse range of project options. So that gave me an option to look at other projects, what you have done in past, and how successful that was. EB5AN typically offers diverse portfolio of those EB5 projects from various industry, not just locations. Like I said, real estate, hospitality, infrastructure, everything. And one of the best thing I found was EB5AN kind of highlighted all the attributes of every single project, how it is performing, what are the financials looking like, and all the information I found was all transparent, and that is one of the key reasons I've decided to stick with EB5AN while finalizing my projects. I've always noticed that EB5AN stand out because they conducted rigorous due diligence in the projects they are offering, and they provide those exact same details to their clients. And that's the core focus of EB5AN is to provide the details and make sure they're compliant with USCIS regulation and guidelines. And again, that is one of the important things. I wanted to make sure that I picked the regional center that was transparent throughout their process and well informed, and they were educating their client properly as well. The other thing was with the Twin Lakes, I was drawn to the builder Coulter. With Coulter, I choose to invest in the project by Coulter Builder for several reasons. They gave me, like just researching on them, they gave me confidence in safety and potential of my investment. First and foremost, Coulter's impressive track record in real estate industry played a very pivotal role in my decision. They have extensive experience as well as proven history of successfully completing their project, and that was highlighted as well on their website that they have a proven track record of completing every single project to 100%. Additionally, Coulter's commitment to quality of construction was evident. I before investing in this project, I've actually gone to the site and I visited the site project, and I've gone through pretty much every single model home they had out there to offer for this community, and I was surprised and blown away by the quality of work that was provided in all of those model homes. And I've like I said, I've invested in real estate before, so I can hand in hand compare exactly what a good quality versus okay or average quality of work from a new builder looks like, because I've gone through those troubles and I can see that work. So definitely Coulter was one of the reasons. They're also financially stable, and that's another key factor. They're in a good position financially. That reassured me that they could effectively manage and complete the project without unexpected delays or issues. Now that's about the project. Now project is called the Twin Lakes, and it's an active 55 plus community. So that's the other areas that I started researching into the 55 plus active community, and I found out that growth and demand for 55 plus community in the US have been on the rise for several reasons, and they've continued to expand in coming years. There is some of the few reasons are aging populations. United States has a rapidly aging population due to baby boomers generation entering retirement age. Active lifestyle. A lot of the communities now, 55 plus communities, offer range of amenities, and like Twin Lakes was one of it. Healthcare facilities, low maintenance living, safety, security, and affordability. The homes that I visited, they were affordable. They were well designed, well structured, and they were well affordable. There was social opportunities. I looked at the structure, their programs. They had opportunity. They had social interactions and opportunities for everyone to engage in the community. So like I said, I've gone through this project ins and out. I've gone through every single sort of aspect of this project, from the regional center to the builder to the community itself, as well as the financial support that it provides. And for me, all of those components came together, and it made me feel like this is the right project for me to invest in, and feel safe that I'm investing in a right project.
Got it. In terms of the requirements to complete the immigration, obviously job creation is a part of that. How did the project's job creation kind of factor into your decision?
Oh, it is a very big decision factor. The job creation factor is critically important, considering Someone investing in an EB5 project is one of the biggest things. In fact, job creation is one of the core requirements for EB5 immigration investment program, right? Because you need to create 10 new jobs in order to obtain that US green card per the investor. So making sure that all those jobs were created through this project were crucial. And from that perspective, this decision was made even easier when I went through the project description, the detailed outline that all those jobs were actually already created for this project, and that kind of gave me a relief that once my I-526 is approved, I know that I can be assured that I can file for my I-829 and be reassured that all those jobs are already created, my funds are legally sourced, and I have nothing to worry about in terms of getting my conditional green card removed, condition on my green card removed. So definitely that was a very key or major aspect that I looked into and make sure that that was already taken care of on this project.
Got it. And I know you mentioned you got a chance to visit the project. Did you get a chance to chat with some of the Coulter team at
No, so unfortunately I didn't, because I did not actually plan the visit or actually schedule a meeting or gone there as an investor. I was actually visiting Atlanta for work related, and I live in Atlanta now. So I was coming for my work related purpose, and I decided that what, I think it's a perfect way to just drop in and understand what's happening with the project. And I've just personally gone ahead and visited the site and did the tour and just got the details as a prospect buyer for my parents. I've gone in as an anonymous person who was actually interested in investment, and I wanted to just understand and the project, what's going on, and make sure that it is what it is shown on the website, and make sure that there is nothing that could be fishy. But I was quite happy visiting the site. But no, I did not get a chance to talk to anyone with the Coulter.
Got it. And I guess, for those investors who are considering, picking any project, in your opinion, how important is it to really try to come for
Sorry, you broke up a little bit in between, but I think I understand the question. It's how important it is to visit the site, and I think it's one of the most important. It's one of the important part. If you can physically come to the site, let's say if you're already in North America and you're investing in one of the EB5 projects, I think it is most important to make sure what you're investing in is a viable project for you. You understand the project, what's happening. Sometimes, I don't know what could go wrong, but my understanding is I wanted to make sure that if I'm reading that there is this many homes to be built, I wanted to make sure that I go visit the site, understand the site plan, look exactly what's on the picture, what's on the site, it's actually there in the field. And that's very important for me. I wanted to understand the quality of the work of the builder. If you're investing in real estate project, you want to make sure that the quality is there. In terms of, I went ahead as a prospect buyer. I wanted to see if I go there and visit the site, and if I was a prospect buyer, would I invest in something like that? Would that be a project, something that would appeal me? And I for my personal experience, it did satisfy me. If that community was offered to everyone, I would have been the first person to invest in it, because I mean, unfortunately I'm not at 55 yet, but that community is something that I was blown away by. And it was just me. I also, my wife also visited with me at the site, and she was blown away. And she was like, "This project, this builder has done a outstanding job," and that's what you want to see. You want to see a happy project or a successful project, and I feel from what I've seen, it's going to be it's a successful project. It's going on well. It's doing a good sales up to now. So it is definitely very important and crucial to visit the site and make sure you understand that you know the project you're investing in is the right one for you.
Got it. Got it. That's really helpful. How is it working with the EB5AN team? Were you able to get all the information, all your questions clearly explained? And yeah, how was that experience?
So working with EB5 was very, very, very helpful and sort of very easy. I would say the team I've talked to Sam, yourself, and then I've generally, when I reach out, I start off by filling out form online, and then right away, if you want to chat, Sam is always available to chat online, chat on WhatsApp, and I think that's the key. You want to be able to talk to someone who can answer your question. If your questions are not being answered, that's a red flag. And with EB5AN, I've never felt anything like that. I actually felt very happy that whenever I had a question, my process was so smooth. I ask a question, I get a response right away. If that response was not right away, that means that there was a answer that, okay, your response will be addressed within this time frame, because maybe something like access. If I need an access to documentations, they'll be like, okay, you will have this access within this much time frame. That means that it speaks that they care about the client, and they want to make sure that you feel comfortable. The other aspect that I want to point out is, there is no wrong questions that you could ask. And I've asked many questions regarding the projects. There be small questions, silly questions, big questions. All of them were answered. And to be honest, I think a lot of the material that is provided on the website, it already covers a lot. And Sam has done tremendous job providing investors interview to details, updated reports on regular basis. I think I don't think there was any shortfall in my experience where I feel it could have been done better. I think it was done tremendously well for me.
Great, thank you. We appreciate that. I guess kind of wrapping up, having now gone through both the immigration attorney, source of funds documentation process, and through the project selection process, what general advice would you have for someone, considering starting, seriously looking at doing an EB5 investment, in the next few months, let's say?
Definitely. So, first of all, I definitely recommend Anita, George, on your immigration journey. Like I mentioned before, there are several reasons. One being she has an extensive expertise in the field. She possesses deep understanding of the complexity of EB5 program, the immigration law, regulations, and her experience is invaluable when navigating through EB5 process. Transparent communications, accessibility, and comprehensive due diligence. Those are some of the few points that I could say about Anita. I definitely recommend, and if you have any questions or if you need a reference, feel free to or contact Sam and reach out to me. and I'll definitely be able to give my recommendations or go through my process. Again, Anita is also multilingual support. She's from India. She speaks multiple language. So if you're someone from India and wanna communicate in different language, I also myself speak Gujarati and Hindi. So if you want to talk, definitely I'm welcome to entertain that. And in terms of supporting or going through EB5AN, I've seen that EB5AN proposes a variety of different projects depending on where exactly you come from, what your country of birth is. You'll have always a good projects that you can invest into. But as I said before, what works for you, it's only you can make a decision on. And but Sam and his team is very experienced, and they provide different types of projects, many different types of projects, and I'm sure I vouch for Sam. And if you have any questions, reach out to me, and I can definitely guide through my process as well.
Got it. Thank you, Hardik. That was great. We really appreciate your time, and definitely, happy to connect them with you separately. Yeah, thank you again.